Hi. Okay, this is going to be a short presentation on English out there, and I'm going to show you some English out there in action. Um, okay. But if we go to the presentation, I'll just whiz through the basic ideas or system of English out there. So stage one is input. English out there can be taught in a classroom, in a virtual classroom, or it can be done self-study. The lessons, every single lesson plan teaches you some grammar, some vocab. You use all four skills, and then you do some controlled practice, whether that's in a classroom or self-study or with a teacher one-to-one. Stage two is the activity. It's the speaking task, the out there bit. And when we do this in London, and we've done it over 8 years, we use places that we know where people hang out, where they're not doing anything, and we train the students to say, "Excuse me, I'm learning English. Can I ask you some questions? I don't want any money. I don't want a signature. I just need some help. I'm trying to speak your language." And the barriers go down. And this is a interesting sort of sociological or psychological phenomenon that if you approach people the right way, they're generous and they help you. So that's how we train students to speak to members of the public. But you can also do this online, and that's what the speaking activity online is about. You make friends using social networks, you make English speaking friends using social media, and you say, "Hey, I just want to learn English for 2 or 3 minutes, or practice some English for 2 or 3 minutes after your lesson." And they say, okay. They know it's going to be a quick conversation, and then if they want to practice your first language, if it's French or Italian or German, then you just switch or flip the conversation into the other language. Then they get some practice. So out there is about learning something, using it immediately, and then consolidating it or listening to it again when you've recorded it. Here's the Out There family. So our lesson plans all have great graphics that were produced by The Guardian about a year and a half ago. And we have teacher delivered lesson plans, which are the original ones that we've taught for about 250,000 hours. And they have been taught and tweaked and tested for years, 8 years almost. And these are the original plans, and they all work, and they can be taught in a conventional classroom, or they can be taught in a virtual classroom, or you can start your lesson in a park. No problem. It's all there, and they have worksheets for the students to write on. So we also have, from the teacher delivered lessons, we develop one-to-one lesson plans and self-study lesson plans, and these come with MP3s that are free that attach to different exercises, and you get your listening practice before you do the exercises via the audio. This is an example of the upper intermediate course. 20 lesson plans. They all last about 3 hours, so it's about a 60-hour course, and all of the lesson plans have a clear language focus, and these relate to the Common European Framework, and you'll find most of these topics, these language areas, in most course books that you use or are sold by big publishers, and every lesson has a clear aim and interesting topic. Every plan for teachers has very detailed instructions. You'll see here you can use them in the real world, or you can use them online. It says VoIP, and the instructions are minute by minute. Every lesson plan has printable worksheets that you can use as a self-study student. You print it and write on it with a pen, or if you're a teacher, you can print it off, give it to your class, and if you're working online and you're teaching online, you can upload it into a virtual classroom or file sharer. So what makes the course so different? Well, we've had many students and learners of English use it over the years, but probably one of the most interesting comments we've had is from a lot of English teachers or students training to be English teachers from Belgrade University, and they told us that they'd studied English for a long time, but they felt that their spoken English was at a different level, i.e. a lower level to their written English, and they said that the course turned passive knowledge into active knowledge. And we see this also with Asian students who've studied English for a long time in a very conventional way, and their speaking and listening skills might be at a very low level, but their reading and writing skills are at a higher level, and we've seen people improve dramatically once we start helping them improve their confidence using the materials and using social learning techniques. This is a bit of science that I wasn't going to show you, but basically we might as well now. This here is where your anxiety and your arousal reaches a certain point if you're trying to speak another language that you've rehearsed in your head and you're not confident about. At this point, your performance drops off, and that's the moment when you feel you've forgotten what you want to say. And there are many scientists, Stevick, Krashen, and Yerkes Dodson in 1908 came up with this chart. But this is basically this line shows you the point at which if you're afraid of speaking, you will stop speaking. So if you go into a boulangerie in France and you've rehearsed, you want to buy 2 loaves of bread, and you walk in and then suddenly you can't say bonjour, 2 baguettes s'il vous plaît, that is what is happening here. So out in the real world, where we originally started teaching English out there, to show you the kind of route of input, activity, result using lesson plans such as these, I've just selected some video, and I've got 2 lessons, one on manners, the other on modals, must have 2 degrees of obligation, and I've got some video that shows the 2 classes being taught in a classroom in London a couple of years ago, and then the students out using the language, and then the last bit is the consolidation and feedback in a cafe. Okay, so let's give it a go, and I'll comment down in the chat box if anything comes to mind.
Manners. What do we mean by manners? So number 1 then. Is that okay?
When you have 18, you can take alcohol. In this age, you
Okay, so 5 people, more if you want. We'll meet here about 10 to 1. 10 to 1. 12 to 1. Okay, there's loads of people sitting down in the park on the benches.
okay? What time?
We're against public platform. People speaking out. Yeah, quiet.
Ask her, what does she do?
The girl is a student.
Yeah.
And she's studying animal. I tell you. Exactly. She's studying animal science.
Right.
And she has to do exam.
He's asking questions to people. Go on, Emmerich. Are you finished?
Yeah, I finished.
Oh, no.
That's fine too. That's okay. Okay. What about wearing a tie for love? Yes, that's good, but they don't have to.
I come from Italy. So then, and I have 1 week because I am architect. I work. In this week, I must learn many things. If the people, English people, help me, I am happy.
Yeah, you learn more.
I learn more. Because I need it for my.
Do you have to work at weekends?
It's your choice.
So it's a choice. And do you have to wear uniform at work? Yeah. Is it necessary?
Persuasive. It was very good.
Yeah.
Then to slap, yeah. The best one.
Ooh. Boom. Crypt. So those last two bits were the class finishing up in a cafe. One was Starbucks, one was the cafe in the crypt near Trafalgar Square, where they consolidate the learning experience. They have a laugh, chat about language that came up, new vocab, and what you see usually is from the start of the lesson where they've been working, feeling the language, getting it clear in their minds, and then the little bit of anxiety for going out and speaking to people, but it's quite exciting at the same time. And then when they come down from the performance of using the language with people they've not met before, and they relax and they get a coffee and they smile, and then they start using the language quite freely and forget that it's language they've just learnt and they didn't know before the lesson, and they use it freely in feedback and have a good time and a laugh. And that it makes it more memorable because they've met people they've never met before. They've had an engaging, unusual, almost psychologically weird experience in terms of their normal life, and it's very, very memorable and helps their confidence grow. And that's what we want everyone to use who uses our materials to experience. So if you want to use them, there are lots of instructions on how to do it. If you want to teach them, there's detailed teacher's instructions. And if you want to do them self-study, there are lots of instructions in the lesson plans. And you can contact us via Twitter, Facebook, or our normal website. Okay, thanks a lot.